Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift, here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over 2 dozen books between us, and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Misstep journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week we're planning how to get bigger and better. But first, what are your wins and whinges of the week, as if I don't know?
My win of the week, I'm glad you asked, is that we just had our mastermind day. Huzzah! I can't believe I get to say it again. And it was really good. It is. I have cheated my way into getting this every time. Had such a good time. We met a little bit earlier today, which I actually quite liked. A little bit earlier.
I did, but I feel like it's a tricky schedule for the sushi. I think just today we happened to have a conversation that flowed well with having a break for sushi and then a break for dessert. Quite a food-based day. It's Easter Monday, so...
Yes, yeah. But Mastermind Day was fantastic. Feel like everything feels good about what we're doing in some ways, and then also bad in others. So it was a good revelation and like complainy day. I've also just been to the cinema a few times this week, which has been, I mean, I've watched quite a lot of films over the last few days, but I've been to the cinema twice, to my local cinema, which is like the cutest little cinema. And I am the worst person for going to the cinema because I have particular seats that I like to sit in. So as soon as the doors open, I'm like,
you can't book a seat at the cinema.
No, you can't, because it's such a small, weird cinema. It's kind of like the Stars Hollow cinema where you just kind of show up and the sofas. So there's a sofa that I like. And I am like the worst person. So I'm like, as soon as the doors open, I'm like, race to get to the front so that I can pick
It's the best person. I think that sounds great.
I think so. I don't think everybody else thinks so. So I got my sofa twice, which was very good. I went to see Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet because they were back on at the cinema. So a very Baz Luhrmann week. Which are fantastic. It's also been Easter, so lots of chocolate and sweets have been had. And I also got my edits back this week from the editors, and they told me that the book wasn't trash. This is book 2, and I was so scared that they were going to say, oh, like, I wouldn't. This isn't ready
how to write.
Yeah, like you've actually completely missed the mark. Like we read the first book, and this is like a terrible follow-up. But they did what, like, obviously all good authors do, where they tell you this is fantastic, and they put in like I'm sure they say this to everyone, like, there's such beautiful writing. Your audience are going to love this, and I'm sure. They are AIing me, into... I'm not saying they use AI, but, like, AI is very generous.
The flattery of AI.
Yeah, like, loves a compliment. But I'll take it. I'm so easily flattered. I'll always take a compliment, and I accepted it. And, yeah, it's been fantastic to go through my edits and realise that, actually, it's a pretty good book. I'm very proud of myself. My whinge of the week is that this past week has gone in the blink of an eye. It was Monday. It's Monday again. I feel like I've montaged my way through the week. Like
you've done so much this week. Every time I've messaged you and been like, "Oh, we're meant to have done this thing," you're like, "Oh, I've just been too social. I've been out and about. I've been seeing people doing stuff."
Yeah, I've been like getting home at like 11 o'clock, 11:30, just crazy busy. And yeah, it's not really.
Did we also record an extra podcast this week? Was that this week?
We did.
I think so.
Wait, when did we do it?
I think it was Thursday.
Let me check. We recorded something on Thursday. Oh, we did. Oh my god, I just completely like blocked it out.
I can't believe I remember this time. And I think it's not a secret because it was a live stream, so that one's not a super secret. We'll tell more about it when it's out.
I'll let you say that in your win if you want to, because I just blasted through that. My last whinge, so I can wrap this up, is that I forgot to put my purple light on. I don't have a purple light behind me. I feel naked.
You're just letting natural yellow
just
light.
Normal light, no purple. I feel
I'm
very
not fitting
strange.
to today's topic. So, yeah, I think this is a
Okay.
serious topic. So I think it's fine.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to have my win as the thing that I remembered, which is just like last time, like Thursdays. We record on Thursdays when we do guest podcasts usually because it's a community day for us. But it's so far from when we record that it's very easy to forget, even though it was absolutely great experience. So we did the Drafted Digital has got a podcast. And they record it as a live, quite a webinar. It's like just a live stream discussion, and so the chat is really involved, and they're really good at getting their users involved, asking questions. That was really nice.
Yeah.
And then they record it and put it out, and their podcast is called this. Oh, self-publishing. I was looking at this just 2 minutes ago. Annoyingly, it's not called Draft Digital Podcast, so that's
Yes,
why I
I
can
know.
remember what it's called whenever I'm
I
searching
call
for
it
it.
that in my head, yeah. And I
Me too.
don't ever
And I'm like,
remember.
oh, you guys listen to Draft Digital Podcast. No, and it's called Self-Publishing Insiders is what it's called. I'm just going to double check this because I'll still put it in the show notes, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. My podcast list on my phone is like 7 million podcasts long. And we were talking today about other podcasts that we should try and beat on. And I was like, there's too many on here for me to have to look in my own time. So it's called Self-Publishing Insider with Drafted Digital. And it was really lovely. And it was a really good conversation. And we will let you guys know when it is out. And I'll also put the general podcast in the show notes. And you can listen to them, record it live, which I don't know why I never do. That seems like a really good way to interact with people. So I'll be doing that from now on.
Yeah.
But that is the list of our guest spots we've got coming up.
Yeah, the audience was really good, and we were fielding live questions. Very new experience, very fun. I was nervous to begin with because I'm very aware that I make very strange faces when I'm talking. I was like, oh, for some reason, recording it and then putting it out there doesn't feel as weird as having people watch me live. Being weird, I don't know.
But you do make weird questions, weird faces, because I have to do our TikToks. I have to find like the kind of frame to pick as the front image, and it is often quite hard to find when you're not making an extreme face.
I know, I can't help it. Brian thinks
you're animated.
Brian thinks it's fantastic. I've got like a plasticine face. I'm so animated. I can't help it. Oh, well.
I feel like I've got a million other wins and wins of the week, so I'm going to just go through quickly. Yes. I also finished editing a book, so I finished editing a book and uploaded it. Just want to get this out there. Everyone be very proud of me. A week before the deadline. 1 whole week before the deadline. I feel amazing, which means I get to get myself a little prize. It also meant I just felt so unstressed. I don't know what this is about. Like, I think because it wasn't a real deadline, I knew that like worst comes to worst, and say I just felt like I couldn't finish the book. I could have just done it the next day, and that was absolutely fine. But also I didn't want to push it the next day because I promised myself a little prize if I got it done by deadline. So I was like up till 2 a.m. finishing it, which fine. It was Easter Sunday, 2 a.m. So like I just had to get up and eat eggs the next day. I did it, and it was lovely. And also when I was reading through it, I really enjoyed the writing. I felt really good about my writing and like the mystery and the writing, which felt great. I feel like I've been having like a non-stop crisis of confidence. For anyone who speaks to me regularly in person, I just feel like I've complained about this a lot recently. I just feel like I feel like I've been really unsure of my writing, and I think today's conversation is sort of part of that, of why I want to talk about it. But reading through it, I was like, no, this is really good. And my other win is I'm currently doing a course from CC Lira, who hosts the Shit No One Tells You About Writing podcast. And the course is something about editing on the line level, but it's not. It's got a much better name than that, but I can't remember what it is. And in fact, it's not really. She does, of course, live once a year in December. I think it's called something like Hacking Writing on the Line Level, but that sounds like it's not quite the right name. And I didn't quite know what to expect, and so she put it out as a recording for a group of people there in a certain Facebook group, so you could buy it just to watch. And the deadline for the expiry of the course I've purchased is in like 2 days, so I'm watching it now. Now I finished my edits. With a deadline pressure, and it's really good, so I'm really enjoying it. And I love learning, and I think part of what I've been feeling a bit frustrated about recently is like I sort of feel like I couldn't learn anything that was useful, and I'm definitely like doing this course is making me feel really excited and animated. I will put a link to Cece's website. I said you can't purchase the course right now, but she has other courses, and I would recommend this course in December, and I will find the real name for it and I'll put them in the show notes. Let me make a note of that. Find name. So yeah, that's also on my wins. I've done some baking this week. I baked my recipes for the book, which has been lovely. I made possibly the world's best Yorkshire curd tart, so I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I very much enjoyed it. And I just looked at a million things this week, which feels really good. I'm feeling positive and excited. I've got some friends recommending me to like a exciting opportunity, so I've done some more research into that, which again meant I got to like order lots of books from the library and order a couple books from Amazon, so I'm doing a bit of research and reading. So yeah, I'm feeling full of learning energy, which is great. And I think maybe no whinges.
Well, always good
I'm
to be
off to
positive
Seville
because
on Wednesday, so yeah,
yeah,
life is great.
we'll probably be whinging this whole episode. Maybe.
Yeah,
We'll
that is
see.
true. Yes, I think so.
So the topic of this week is that we want to think bigger this year, since it's our Act 3. What are you currently planning? Like, what's your big hitting plan?
I sort of think so. The reason why we kind of want to have this episode was I think we are not planning big. Like, I think we've sort of got vague, aspirations, but not really plans. And we both set out into this year kind of thinking we wanted to make some big changes, and I've got like a new series coming up, and there's some sort of things on the horizon, but like I feel like I'm edging away from the bigness of them. And so that is kind of what we had a conversation about. So the big thing that I've got planned, but really I don't have anything planned for it, is like a new Christmas series. But it doesn't feel exciting right now because I've been trying to get ads going on my existing series, and that's been a bit of a palaver. Like, that's a long process. And also I'm at the stage where it's a book one, so obviously in that it's rubbish. And I have to go rewrite the whole thing. So it feels really hard to think about like making big plans for a book where you're like, oh, the book is terrible. So it's not like I'm going to make plans to like get 1,000 ARC readers for this atrocious book. So it just feels like I'm not making big plans. But the series is out in September, and it's April now, so that feels like I should be planning stuff. But I'm not. And I've also got like other things I want to be planning. So I think I'm not taking my eye off the ball, but I'm not planning as if I'm going to succeed and like do big things this year. And I want to kind of rethink that. How about you?
Yeah, I am in the same position where I don't feel like I know what thinking big is right now. I don't know what is a big thinking plan. I just don't know. I feel like all of my aspirations and dreams are just on the road that I'm already on, and it doesn't feel like, it feels like they're just, what I want to do right now just feels inevitable. And
in a good way, because your face says not in a good way.
No, not in a good way. In a, like, I can just continue doing what I'm doing right now, which is publishing, and I am inching kind of like up a little bit in my sales, and I'm making like good headway for me. I feel like the things that I'm doing, like, with my ads and social media, are making a difference. Very small differences, but it's, it's kind of like a fun testing phase, and I like it. But I can't imagine what the next big thing is. Like, I could just keep doing this and keep doing the series that I've got planned, and I just don't know how to think bigger. Like, my next big thing that I want to do is, like, and we talked about this today, is I really want to lean more into romance in my books. And but that's not a big thing. That's not like a big thinking thing. And I want to plan a series, like an entire series, before I start writing it. But that again, that's just the process. That's not a big thing, and I don't know what the big thing is. I don't know.
It feels like at our current rate of growth, it'll be like 100 years before we're at like a meaningful stage. So it's like I feel like everything's growing, but there's nothing. I don't have a sense of what is gonna like really tip the needle. And I'm not working towards that. That's not quite true, but I maybe don't feel like I'm working towards that. And it feels like the Christmas series could be that. It could be, I think there's much more scope for advertising it, and in Christmas books I think they do really well around Christmas, and I think you could write even a not very Christmas book and probably have it sell fairly well on Christmas. But I just think that's what I would do. Like, I think in my head at the moment, all I'm kind of thinking is like, I'll put these books out and then some people will buy them. and that's not going to like bring in an annual salary, which is what I
Yeah.
need, and I don't think
Yes.
I'm planning for that in
Yeah.
any
Yeah, I'm
meaningful
the same.
way.
Like I don't feel like I know what to plan for, and I have say like I've got aspirations of like like a lot of people, not everybody, but like a lot of people. Imagine if one of my series got turned into a TV show.
Mhm.
But that is a big thing. That's a big plan. But it's also a lofty dream, and
Mhm.
I could go after it because I know like the process of writing a TV show and pitching and all that stuff. Like I know that in like enough that I could go further
Yeah,
with
and the
it. I
mechanics
could
of it. Yeah.
yes, I could learn like how to pitch properly and who to pitch to and when pitching season is, and I could do all that stuff. But that's committing to a path that
Yeah.
right now just seems like to be just for the sake of doing something big.
Yeah.
Um, and it feels weird because I know a lot of people might be like, well, just do that. But I'm very much I know like I'm a very flighty person, but I'm also once I've committed to something, I'll see it through to the bitter
Yeah.
end. So I have to be very careful what I do choose to put my energy towards because
Mm.
I can pick the wrong things and go down a rabbit hole for a very long time. like
Mhm.
like I once decided that I was never going to eat sweets again because one day I
Yeah.
ate too many sweets and I haven't ever eaten sweets. This is like
It's one of my least favorite things about
probably
you. It's so weird.
like I'm going to say 20 years I haven't eaten
Yeah.
sweets. Okay, I'm not kidding. And maybe even more. And
That's
that's
so much
how bad
commitment.
I
I'd give that up in like a
yes,
week. I'd be like, actually, just these
I know.
sweets. And I
It's
just,
really sometimes detrimental because I know that I could just do it, but it's like doing my French on Duolingo. It's like I
Mhm.
don't have to do it every day. I can break the streak, but I can't because I've committed.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
good, but it's also sometimes like handcuffs. And so I
Yeah.
don't want to pick the wrong thing to commit to. Um, so that's kind of an added layer as well to trying to think big.
Mm.
It's like I don't want to think of the wrong big thing, but I don't know what the next thing is anyway. I don't know.
Mhm.
Sorry, everyone. End of podcast. Oh.
But I think that's interesting. Like, I don't really want a TV show made over my books. Like, it's not like I would be
Mhm.
like, oh, sorry, Netflix, here, have £1 million back. I don't want that. Tear up that check. I'm not saying I would refuse it. I'm saying it's not something that I aspire to in a
Mhm.
way that I would put any work towards it. You know, that might change, but like, I don't see myself like putting energy towards it right now. Because also I think it's, I mean, this was like one of my dad's suggestions. It was like very well meaning, but not actually super helpful. It was like, oh, why don't you get a Netflix show made of your books and then people read your books? And I was like, that's actually the
Mhm.
opposite way of how it works. That's not the direction it goes. And yeah, because I am trying to make like a career of my books. I
Mhm.
don't, and I know you've done like other script writing stuff in before. So like,
Mhm.
is it that you think, oh, maybe I want to have two strings to my career and I want to do both those things, or just that like I could do it, so I should do it.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's always been a dream because I'm such a TV girl. I'm such a
Mhm.
and films as well. Like just any kind of visual media. I'm such a and that's how I picture books as well. I'm just a very visual person. So it
Mm.
always has felt like since I was a kid always felt like that I'd somehow end up involved with TV or film. Um but I don't know if that's just because it's always been a dream that it feels like I don't want to give
Mhm.
up on the dream because I decided it was a dream, so I stuck with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It feels like it's something that I will end up doing at some point, but I don't think that that's my next big thing.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that feels like something to do once I have an audience, because then it won't be such an uphill struggle to try and sell
Mm.
something to a TV to a production company or something. So yeah, that seems too ambitious right
Yeah.
now.
Well, I sort of think as well, like we're at the stage where it's not like, oh, if you choose path X, this will be success. Like at the moment, there's probably 10 paths ahead of each of us where it
Mm-hmm.
could be equally successful or unsuccessful. There's sort of no way to know.
Yeah.
Um, and then you just think, all I'm doing is picking one arbitrarily, because picking one
Yeah.
path is better than picking 7 paths and sort of doing none of them very well. But like I'm picking one arbitrarily. Um, and it doesn't feel like the arbitrariness doesn't feel exciting. It feels just like, I guess I'm on this path. And like one thing I've been thinking about this week is like, I'm not sure I'm in the right genre. And like
Yes.
really big thinking of like, I really think I'm not in the right genre. And I'm not saying that's necessarily true, but I'm not saying like if you know a lot of other authors in the genre look at my books, they would be like, no, this is absolutely it. I think part of it's my writing style. Like I think my writing style just isn't very aligned with the genre, and I think there are readers in the genre who enjoy my writing style, but I think there's maybe not a huge number of them, and I don't know how to reach them. I think I am quite a fan of like a very convoluted plot with lots of side stories and twists, and in a writing style, like I think I like a complicated sentence, and if I try to make it more in like and like cozy readers want like a really like relaxing cozy experience, and they want to not be, you know, checking through the weeds of your sentences. And you know, that's not quite what I mean, but as in they're not looking to be winding through something complicated and twisty.
Yes. Yeah.
And some of them are, but I think as a general rule, the vast majority will be like, oh no, what I want is it to feel like a really lovely, like warm bath with a hot cup of tea and a nice bit of cake on the side. Like they want that coziness, which understandable, that's the genre. And I just think every time I set out to try and write that, I don't write that. And I feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle of like, I could either just like try again and start another series where I try and write in this style, and I've got friends who I know have started new series who are very good at writing that style. I can see them have like very quick success, and that's not just on the writing style. Like they're also working really hard in the marketing, things like that. But like, it does feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle of just like, here's something that doesn't quite fit in the box, and I'm like, don't worry if it doesn't fit in the box. Just like the lid doesn't have to shut. That's ignore that part, and like just shave off the side a little bit. Don't stress about that. Like I feel like I'm having to sort of persuade someone to take something that doesn't quite fit. Because like it's not like everything in the genre isn't there, right? Like all the kind of tropes and the genre expectations are there, but like I do feel like really I kind of had to realize like I don't think my writing style is a natural fit. And so if that's the case, what should I do? And I was having a chat to AA about it. I was like, what like related genres actually do you think this writing style fits better? Because obviously you can look at also samples on the internet. And one was just like broader general mystery. I was like, you know what, actually I've already solved this problem for myself, and it feels like having to re-solve the problem, because I've already decided that my Christmas series, I want to market it as more general mystery, because I want to have I want the book to be a bit longer. I want to have more like interpersonal drama. I don't want to have romance in there, which again is quite a common expectation in cozy, and I'm just not going to do. And I think in broader mystery genre, there's less of an expectation of that, and you can have a slightly more convoluted story and sentence structure. So like at all levels of the writing can be a little bit more difficult. And so I've already decided to do that. So it's like I feel annoyed that I've like relitigated the argument myself. When but I think I hadn't really confronted the fact that like actually I think both those things are true. That like if I'm wanting to write something that's a bit of a broader mystery, or deliberate to appeal to a broader mystery audience, part of that is then like also not writing cozies and not trying to fit in with that, or like claim that I fit in with that one. Like I'm just not doing a great job at it. So yeah, it's interesting that like I've sort of come to this twice from both like a positive and a negative angle. But it does feel good to have like movement and possibility and options, where like I was feeling really stuck and sort of like I didn't really know what else to do with my cozies, and like I really felt like, oh, I've really created a series that I thought was to market, and trying to advertise it's kind of just doing okay, and it's like I don't feel like everyone's having that problem.
No, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like when people hit the market fully, I mean, and this is just looking at people from the outside in, but it doesn't seem as difficult.
Yeah.
It seems like it just seems like a smoother ride. Like all the marketing seems smoother. But then that could just be because they only focus on the marketable like fitting the market stuff, and we both, because I was saying this again today, sorry guys, having conversations without recording it, but talking about how you and I are very much like, I don't know what the word is, but find it very difficult to bend the truth or to do things for a particular reason. So talking about our books, even though we don't think they fit the genre, but like just talking about the bits that do fit the genre, because it feels not unethical. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, inauthentic.
But inauthentic is probably, like every single time, like the authenticity.
Yeah.
You and I both are two people who really, like, that's one of our biggest things, is like, I just want to feel authentic, and I don't want to have to like bend over backwards to convince people that the thing that I've done is the thing that they want.
Or try and trick someone like, oh, if you love this author, you'll love my book. Like, I know that's not true. That's absolutely not true, because the books aren't similar enough. And I'd be annoyed if someone told me that and I read this. It's like, and it might be that like 50%. And when you get like those really big blockbuster, like everyone's reading it books, and often they do trick you into reading them in a way like that. I'd be like, oh, readers of X will love Y, and you read it, and you're like, that was a lie. Absolutely, that was a lie. But like, say 50% of the readers actually, they enjoyed it enough that they didn't really care about the lie, and maybe 30% were like a bit annoyed, but they would try the next book, and only 20% were too irritated to read on, or like, to continue with that author. Like, you gain huge numbers of readers with your stretch of the truth, and most of them will read on the book by you. Like, great. And I feel like that isn't something that I want to do.
No, it feels tricky. It feels like you're trying to trick people, and I can do that like for probably a short space of time before I start to feel like, oh, like my attention isn't there, or I don't believe what I'm saying enough to want to keep saying it.
Yeah, like, I might as well go back to like trying to sell gas and electricity door to door. Like, that was just lying. I lied to people to their faces because I had no idea how you what gas and electricity were, and how you sold them, and how you had money, because I was like 18. And I was just lying to people's faces. And I'm a very good salesperson, because I'll find a good line and make it work. But like, I might as well do that. I don't do that for my own books. I want to find people who want these books, and I want to be authentic about it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound very, I don't know. I feel like people listening are thinking like, oh gosh, that's just childish. Like, just grow up and run a business. But like, I'm not going to. So why pretend?
Yes, I want to run a business that benefits me and all of my boxes that need ticking. And that's it. And it's like, got to be sustainable, not just in that I can do it over and over again, but in that I can feel good about it over and over again. That's my sustainability, is how I feel.
I think that's it.
Doing it.
You burn out. You'd burn out doing something that feels unauthentic to you. Not everyone would, but like, I think both of us really would.
Yes, we have both got a very high level of like really needing to feel a personal connection to the thing that we're doing, and it be the thing that we really like and want to do. Like, which is why even when we talk about writing to market, we're not really trying to write to market without caring about the story. We want to write to market in that we pick some things that are marketable, but I also can't write a book that I don't love. And some people can, and that's great for them. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that we need people who can just write books that it's just a product, and that's fantastic. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, and I think that's how I've like really struggled with like writing to market. Is like, I felt sure I've written a book, like a series to market, and it's like, actually, I don't think it is.
Yeah, actually, I just did what I've always done.
I don't think it's enough. And I think, and part of it is also that like, we've only got a couple of series each. And it could just be, you hear a lot of people like, oh, I found success in my 4th or my 5th series. So it could just be that like, maybe I am trying to pick something to blame it on. There's just like, oh, maybe it just hasn't hit. Maybe I just haven't like hooked people in the right way. But I do feel like, it does feel like pushing a boulder uphill. And it's just like, I don't think it should feel this hard.
Yeah. I just don't know. Again, like that seems like, it seems like a problem, but it's not the problem. But it's part of the problem, because how do you, like, just to bring it back to the topic rather than like getting so far away from it, what's the big thing then that we need to do to do what we're trying to do? I still...
I mean, I think one thing that I've lost my headphone for no reason. No cat to blame this time. I've just lost my headphone. Sorry. Um, one one thing that I think maybe is a message for me this year is just like make sure you're being all in with like not trying to write something that's like half in the cozy mystery genre, half out of it. Like really make sure you're writing something. And there are books that are being presented as mysteries that are like they have enough cozy elements they would appeal to cozy readers, and they're very clearly cozy mysteries. At a certain core, like an emotional core, but they are presented as mysteries and they've got like a slightly different spin, like a slightly different twist. And I think what I need to do is make sure I'm being all in with that type of book and not trying to kind of be everything to everyone. And like take a big swing, because I think I keep going back and forth on this year and like really doubting myself, my decisions. I said to myself, like, this year I've got 2 years that I can afford to not work. This year's the year I want to take some big swings, because I know we won't do it next year when I'm scared about money. Next year I will try and write something. I want to try and write something that's like definitely I am like as deliberate as I can trying to write something that I think will sell. This year is like I do want to do that, but like I'm also prepared to say I want to take a big swing and it could be an absolute swing and a miss. But like I want to take a big swing. And I keep edging away from that. And I think that's what I'm in danger of doing with like this Christmas series, is like, because I was sending a chapter to a friend who's a very good critique partner, and I sent her a couple of chapters, and I sent it to her, and then I had one that's like middle of the night follow-up emails, or like, actually, do you know what? Ignore all of this, because what I'm going to do is going to rewrite it as like a really cozy Christmas mystery. Here's some examples of what they're like, and I sent her some links. And what I was trying to do was like write something more like this sort of series, but I think I'm going on about it all wrong. And then by the time I saw her a couple of days later, I was like, ignore that email. I'm going to stick to my guns.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I have been reminded of this year, is like stick to my guns.
Hesitation. Yeah, that's such hesitation.
And it felt horrible. Like after I sent that email, I felt awful. I was like, why am I doing this? Why would I said to myself I wouldn't I wanted to take some big swings this year. And like that's not taking a big swing. Because like what I could do next year is like write a really, really cozy Christmas series on purpose, and like and write one that's much more similar to existing cozy mysteries. I could do that next year. I could start a new series next year. It doesn't have to be this series. And I wanted to write something that's a bit different. So yes, I'm going to try and stick to my guns, which feels scary. I'm going to try and do something that I think is more aligned with my opportunity for success.
Right.
Which it's taken me a lot of rambling to get to, but actually that feels like a real epiphany.
Not done that in a while.
Epiphany. I'm wearing my epiphany necklace. I think I'm having an epiphany.
I feel like my big thing, which is like what I wrote down, which was leaning into romance more, because I definitely have hesitated from calling any of my series. My current series is not a romance in the slightest. There's a little bit of romance, but it's like neither here nor there. And in the past, I had written a young adult fantasy, which I didn't think was romance until afterwards, and someone said, "This is a romance," and I was like, "Ugh, awful." Never talked to me about my own book again. And then when I did my werewolf series, and I thought that wasn't a romance, and then afterwards when people were reviewing it, they said that was a romance. I was like, oh, but I always regarded that. Maybe this is like my epiphany. I've always regarded the romance elements of my books as the negative. Like I didn't want it. It accidentally happened. I didn't think that's what the story was about. But that's what I should be leaning into and doing it on purpose. Because I like romance. I don't like romance books, but I like fantasy with romance.
With romance.
Yeah. I love a swoony romance.
Yeah. What's interesting is like, I think a few weeks ago, one of my bullying questions was like, why aren't you writing fantasy? And then my other question now is going to be like, why aren't you writing romantasy? And like, it's like you're deliberately like hiding in the smallest possible corner of like the biggest genre at the moment. What is that about?
I don't know. I think it's maybe my middle child syndrome of not wanting to be on a bandwagon and always wanting to do my own thing and having to be the person who is defiantly doing the opposite thing that everyone else is doing. And I know that about myself enough to say that I know that I do. I am one of those people. I am what would you would have called them a hipster back in the day, of somebody who's like, oh, you're drinking you're drinking regular coffee when you could be drinking this kind of blend from this rainforest that you've never heard of. Like I am that person. Growing up, I used to always make sure when I got a new mobile phone, it was a mobile phone that nobody else had.
Yeah.
I am that person. And
yeah.
I don't dislike that about myself, but I think that is the thing. Whereas I don't want to join a bandwagon and maybe feel like I would be a very small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
With so much competition, because I'm not a competitive person.
Yeah.
When there's a lot of people involved. I'm competitive when there's a few people involved. Then I'm a horrendous person. But when it's a big group, I really don't like it.
You're not going to win, right? You're not going to be the biggest romantic author or the biggest other fantasy author. You're not even going to be top 10, in any time soon. So it's like, if you're competitive, but you don't want to be competing against giants that can stomp on you, that feels like I wouldn't do that.
Then I'm holding back,
But I think one thing you could take advantage of is you have high futuristic, and I think what you could be doing is looking at where's the genre going, what's coming next, and how can I pivot towards that. Because I think and that might mean that you're never you're struggling to be writing books that are very big in the moment, but maybe when the genre catches up with you, then it's catching up and be and then you can ride that wave. But I think you're writing in small subsets of popular genres and not putting romance in your books. I don't put romance in my books because I don't want romance in my life and I find it deeply uninteresting. And I don't like it in even a little bit. I don't like it when I watch on TV and there's romance subplot. Can we just get back to dead bodies? But if you like it and enjoy writing it and people say to you your books are romance,
I know. Oh no, it's an epiphany.
Yeah.
The bad kind.
What? Sad epiphany.
No. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
think
it's like you're doing this.
Yeah, and it's funny because, and we were talking about this again today, about how I'm currently reading a book and it's not hitting with me whatsoever. It's taking me, I've been reading this book for over a month. It's really slowed down my whole reading. I can't read anything else right now because I'm reading this book and everyone loved it when it came out, so much so that I've had it on my TBR list for so long, and I thought, oh, finally, I'm going to read this book. It's going to be so good. And it's so not doing it for me.
That's the worst betrayal, where you think everyone in the world's an idiot because they like this book. Not just the book is bad, but the whole world is bad.
I feel like it's me that's bad. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I get this? And the main reason really is the romance element of this book is not what I want. It's not fulfilling anything for me. The character isn't fulfilling anything for me. And what I'm really trying to work on this year is I've bought a reading diary so that when I finish a book, I take notes about what I loved about it, what I loved about the characters, what didn't work. And this is the first book that I've read this year where I'm so difficult. I need to finish it because I want to understand what is going on. And this is the first book I've read where I didn't like it, and I think that I'm starting to figure out why. And I can't wait to verbalize it in my little reading diary and learn what works, what I really like and what I don't like, because the book that I read prior to this one was the only it was an interesting-ish story, but the romance of the last book that I read was so good. I binged the book just for the romance, and it was such a, and I don't even mean it was a sweeping romance. It was a pure they hate each other all the way to the end. Oh, they love each other, and it was done so well. And that, again, epiphany is happening. If those are the things that I'm really noticing about the books that I'm reading, that's the thing that I should be focusing on. Yeah. And for my next series, I really want to plan the whole series out before I start writing it. And I think that I need to write in a sweeping romance over 3 books.
Yeah. I mean, not even write in, right? The book is a romance because I've read part of this book, or the first book, and we talked about it. But when you talk about it, you really highlight the friendships and the family relationships. That's how it is in your head, and the romance is oh yeah, and then they're teenagers, so obviously there's a romance involved. But it's how is that not the thing? And these other parts of it are the Are there like
Yeah,
side stories that are going on?
I don't know. I feel maybe it's because I'm trying to, like, in my head, the things that I really like about books as well isn't just romance. I love found family and the friendship part. And I suppose I always think that that is the thing that I'm most interested in when I'm reading or watching TV shows. I always think, oh, it's because I love this, like, this ragtag group of people. And so, like, if we use Buffy as an example, I always just think, oh, I love, like, the Scooby Gang and I love their whole friendship. But actually, obviously, it's whoever Buffy's dating at the time is actually the thing. Like,
the main plot line.
is the
and it's
thing.
the same for like Gilmore Girls, right? It's, you think it's a community, but like the main thing is like, who are they going to end up with?
Yeah.
End up with, in quotes, as if like that's the goal of your life as a woman.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think, like, at the back of my mind, I'm like, but don't focus on that because that's like the fickle stuff. But that's also the universal. That's like the butter. That's the universal fantasy that everybody wants, and I don't understand why I'm only just like realizing that I have had blinders on and I'm just refusing to look at it. Just don't look.
I think it's interesting, but I think what's interesting is like it's not the way that you live your life. So, and I think that can be why, because it does feel like, to an extent, sort of like anti-feminist, right? Like I think there's something about romance where it's like the story ends when they find a romantic partner, and I think it can feel that way if you want to write found family, you want to write like independent women, you want to write family, you write a lot of family relationships in your books, like you want to have these whole rounded characters, and then it can feel sort of like a simplistic way to like, and she lived happily ever after because she found a boy to kiss, like, but that's not what you're writing, and that's just like, that's the way to make it feel satisfying. That's a narrative that we understand, because it closes something very specific off with a discrete endpoint, in which, like, in the way that like a family relationship doesn't have and a friendship relationship doesn't have, it just continues. A romantic relationship has a definite endpoint, like you get together. And like that, it's just butter. And I know I talk a lot about not liking romance. I do watch plenty of things with romance in. Like I watched Bridgerton, and like I think what I don't enjoy about it is that it is like a sort of simplification of the lives of really interesting women. But it's just the hook to hang this on. It's just the way to give a story like a really good shape and like a buttery delightfulness.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that I maybe it highlights the insecurity that I have, in that I don't think my stories are complex enough or interesting enough. And I'm not saying this is true. This is just like insecurities that I have, where I think, oh, like I'm an okay writer, like a goodish writer, but I always feel like I could be better at writing a more complex, thrilling story. And if I put romance in there, is that minimizing the story even more, when really I should be trying to like use it as a fun way to elevate the story? Because if I'm going to have a romance, then make the actual story bigger so that the romance sits within it as something else. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, again, it's sort of like it can feel trivializing, being like, and then they kiss, and you feel like you want to challenge yourself with like, I want people to read this without a hook, without an interesting romance arc.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. I think I don't write big enough stakes, and it's strange because I myself am a very weird person who always thinks so dramatic, and I think of if I see anything, I always think, oh, imagine if this happened next.
Yeah.
Even like in real life, if I see somebody crossing the street, I'm like, imagine if a bus took them out right now. You know, like it's just like ridiculously over the top stuff, and that's how my brain works anyway. But when I'm writing, I feel like the dial is turned down to 5. Like I can't quite figure out how to get that on paper.
Yeah.
So
I think I feel the same way as well. And I've mentioned a few times I'm in this Inez Johnson book club, and we're reading these like really best-selling books, and it is like hitting you over the head with the fact that these books are just like, they're dialed up to 11. Like where I might have someone who's in like a bit of a bad situation, these books will have someone who's like about to die. You know, or I might have someone who's like, oh, maybe they broke up a relationship and they're feeling a bit sad about it. They'll have someone who's like, partner, it turns out, has been lying to them for decades, and they're an evil mastermind. You're like, oh, okay, and it feels very satisfying as a reader. But like, and it feels satisfying, but also they're a cliche, right? You're reading it knowing you're being emotionally manipulated, you're sort of making fun of yourself for being so like, oh, I'm being emotionally
Yes.
manipulated and loving it, and like so there's like a lot of conflicting emotions going on as you're reading that sort of thing, but it is incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I think as a writer, it can feel like, oh, I don't want to write that sort of book because I want to write something that's like deep
That has more
and
to
about,
it. Yes.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
about my own personal like point of view
Yeah.
on the world,
Like my
and
book's
that's an
about
exaggeration.
friendship. The
Yeah.
dumbass.
But I think there's a lot of conflicting elements we're bringing to books. Like we're trying to do a lot of things at once, and it can be easy to look away from the thing that you think like, actually, I'm not writing the thing that readers want. I think that's what both of us have in this
Yes.
conversation. Is like we're not doing enough of what readers want,
Yeah.
and
But and
that's a
it's
sad epiphany.
yeah,
Sad
that is sad
epiphany.
epiphany. But because it's not like we're doing it because we don't want to give readers what they want. And
Mm,
it's not like it's the stuff that we don't like. Like I love romance in books.
hmm
That is like and in TV shows and films. Like I love that stuff. And it's just like why are we avoiding those
Yeah,
things? What lies have we told ourselves about ourselves
yeah,
that we're trying to break through? And I think that is mine, is like I'm writing books that are better than romance because it's about friendship.
hmm
Ugh, I hate myself. I hate myself for that right now. Oh, that's so. And it's like, I'm also like, I watched a TV show called Revenge, and then I told you to watch it because
Oh, it's so
it
good. Yeah,
it's an
it's so
example
buttery
of,
and it's awful.
yeah, it's so bad, but it's so good. You cannot stop watching it, and it's because every single episode they they turn up the dial, and then you think, huh,
Yeah.
what could they possibly do next? And the next episode, they crank it up higher, and it's literally every episode something ridiculously extreme happens every
Mm,
single time, and you think they couldn't go any further, and they keep going for like four
yeah.
seasons. The dial is cranked every single
I mean, it's
time.
exactly like a daytime TV soap opera, but with like an enormous
Yeah.
budget. So it's delightful.
Yes.
And I would say
Yeah.
that's what these like best-selling books from the book club have been like. Because like The Housemaid is just like Desperate Housewives. Like it feels like that exact same feeling of like these people are not real. There's no expectation when you're reading it that anything is going to be too like bound by the rules of reality. Um, and
Yes.
then when they do something ludicrous, you're like, how fun, how
Yeah.
enjoyable to read this.
Yeah, which is crazy because my imagination is one of those insane places. And it's
Mhm.
just maybe giving myself permission to write that stuff down.
Yeah.
That feels, I don't know, it feels impossible. It feels like an impossible task. I feel like I'm not a good enough writer to do it, which is, again, a lie that I've told myself.
Mm,
Because even if I do it badly, I could only get better. I have to let myself try.
yeah. And I think I love the cozy mysteries. Um, but because I don't know, I'm not sure I wouldn't have a good reason why, but I think I find myself like trying to bring it too much down into reality. And like sort of the point of a
Yeah.
cozy mystery is it's an escape, and it should have this sort of like real whimsical, like joyful escape from
Mm.
reality. And mine is just like quite weird English village. Like it's not an
Yes.
unrealistically weird place. It
Yes.
I'm I give these places like a lot of texture and like real problems and like boring
Hmm.
problems. Like
Yeah, you're
oh
kind of writing like British daytime soap that is very much set in like a place that's real, and you can imagine these people in real life. And it's fantastic. Like I love your books and I think your writing is so good, but I know like other cozy mysteries are more like, yeah, like more fantasy worldy.
yeah,
And I
they're
don't
like
mean
that
that in
cross with
terms
like
of
the Teletubbies in like a fun like
yes.
bright
Yeah.
Technicolor anything could happen fun way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um we're both idiots in it, but like we couldn't have these epiphanies without, we have to do the wrong things to get to the right things. And like I like talking about it and figuring it out
yeah,
on the podcast as well as like just every day being an
yeah.
idiot. But I feel really I feel like everybody listening to this will be like, Sam, you're an idiot.
No, I don't think they will because I think everyone has things like this. You can't really see it about yourself, and that
Yeah.
like I've been thinking around this for a while,
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I've solved the same problem twice, right? Like I already had solved it in a way, and I'd forgotten I solved it, and I've like relitigated it, and it comes back again to a lot of the thing of like I want two things to be true at once all the time. Like I want to make the choice and have the opposite thing be true. Like I want to write cozy mysteries, but also have them like have this real sort of grounded sense of reality, which it's just adding too much weight to something that should be light and fun. And so really
Yeah.
then what I should say is like, oh, I want to write something, I should be writing something more like detective fiction or like more general mystery, or at least present it as more general mystery and add in more of the expectation from that of like family tensions and things like that. And it's just like I'm just trying to have my cake and eat it all the time, which is just
Yes. Yeah.
not
That's definitely both of
not
us.
thought through. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
And I'm sure we're not the only ones in the world doing this.
No, I know, I don't think so. And I think I actually see a lot of indie authors doing this on social media, where they talk about how difficult they're finding like selling their book. And like obviously, even if you're writing in a popular genre, selling your book still feels difficult. But when I see some, not a lot of indie authors, but some indie authors that I follow, I feel like I can see from an outsider's point of view why they're struggling, but you can't tell them because it's rude, and like a lot of the time you have to just figure it out yourself. They're a stranger, and they need to start a mastermind and talk about it with somebody else. Because you really can't see it for yourself. It's so obvious, and yet like you just can't. You need another brain. You need another brain to tell you what you need to hear.
Yes. Which we will talk about something related to that in a minute, but have we got anything else on this topic?
No. I'm excited that I've had this epiphany, because it feels like...
What are you going to do with the epiphany?
Well, I'm going to do what I was already doing, but with more feeling, with more confidence in what I'm doing. Because I'm already planning my next series.
What genre does your next series fit into?
It is a good question. I am looking at YA dark fantasy.
Okay.
But I need to look at I need to look at that. I need to because that's going to be part of my plan now that I've got this romance on the brain.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean into that. So I'll do some genre research this week and see if I can get that nailed down, because that's definitely like a key. To this kingdom.
You're going to change it quite a lot anyway. There's quite a lot of options you can take it in, in the direction of like, if you want to add more romance, like you could go into like not YA, right? It could be like just some dark fantasy.
Yes, it's terrible. I know I'm saying this right at the end, but I have been thinking like, why am I writing YA all the time? Because I like reading. I read YA more than anything else, and that's really why. But it's also because new adult is just difficult, even more difficult to sell.
Okay. But we have like spent a couple of years looking for YA fantasy authors, and turns out there's none of them, and there must be a reason for that. Not none, but not many. And is it just that people are writing stuff that is like technically NA, but it's just classed as like fantasy?
Yes.
Like, doesn't matter that the protagonists are 20. Like maybe because I think that is also another way to like be limiting yourself. Of saying like I write in this genre that actually it's like the genre rules have sort of changed, and this isn't maybe what everyone's reading right now. And I could still write exactly the same thing, but just sort of pitch it slightly differently. Yeah.
Yes, I will think on that. I will. I promise.
Yeah. I'm also doing some big thinking. So one of the other genres that I was thinking about that I constantly think about is psychological thriller. I love a psychological thriller. I have written a couple of psychological thrillers in like my deep past before I found Cozy Mysteries. I've taken a course in psychological thrillers. I think about them all the time. And it is a genre that I would love to write in. It's very hard to break into as an indie, so I think that's sort of part of what puts me off kind of looking at it. But I have decided that I love learning, as we said at the beginning, and like I've already decided to take a month off to do some work on character development, characterization in my books, and I want to have a month of learning every year. So this year I'm doing character, and I was like, and I'd planned to do a mystery, like to write that as my book to write along, like to apply what I was learning. And not necessarily to finish it and not necessarily to do anything with it, just like I wanted to have a book that would kind of be applying my skills to. And I've decided I'm going to do it with a psychological thriller, just to really like lean into the enjoyment of something that is just for fun, that is not trying to fit within a certain box that of a market that I'm trying to work in as my business, as my job. So yeah, that is fun. And maybe through that I'll have some sort of epiphany about my own writing. We'll see. But yes, yeah. But I've already got ideas, and I think it'll be fun. And it feels nice to have an idea of like I'm going to write something out of genre, just to give myself like a real break, and to do something deliberately different. Because I think that's part of what was making me feel a bit frustrated recently, was just that I sort of felt like I was like I don't know what to do. I've sort of run out. I feel like I've come to the end of. I've run out of road of like things to. Not like there's nothing to learn, but like of things to learn that were going to take me somewhere that I wanted to go, that would be useful. So yeah, so I think that is what we're kind of both doing right now, is like maybe opening the maps back up again, having a look at things and rethinking, rather than being too narrowly focused on places that perhaps aren't serving us.
This is a real Act 3 curveball.
Yeah.
Like, I really wasn't expecting this today.
No, neither of us are planned for this podcast. We were both, and we
No.
both planned the topic a while ago, kind of thinking like it kind of crosses over with stuff we're thinking about, like, but we hadn't planned in advance what we were going to talk about. Because I think often when you have a conversation like this, what you want is to talk about a thing that you weren't going to confront by yourself, that you get someone else to kind of bring it out of you. Because otherwise, like, I know the circus my brain goes in all the time. I already know that. And I'm stuck in that.
I keep telling
that loop by
myself the same lies. Yeah, I would just keep going round and round, like I'm doing the right thing, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so linked to that, we want to say, so we did these workshops a few weeks ago where we had kind of like this mastermind pairing that we have now. We invited some more people into it, and we ran sessions on business and creativity and money and mindset. And as part of that, we had these really substantial workbooks that you could work through. And part of doing them was like choosing which exercise you did and which you didn't do. And they worked really well if you do them in a group. So we got a lot of requests to have them put up for sale. So we put them in our coffee. The link is in the show notes. If you go into our coffee, you can buy each topic separately, or you can buy them all. And I would strongly recommend doing it with somebody else. So you sit down. I've made a video for each one, and it tells you what to do, and you've got a timer that you should give yourself for each section. But sit down with somebody else. It can be just like the two of you on Zoom, or it could be a group of 6. You could be a writing retreat you're on, could be just some friends who are at different stages of their writing careers. But get people to discuss it, and like, don't just sit inside your own head. And you can do the workbooks by yourself, but I think if you're going to do that, really make sure you're confronting yourself about the things that you avoid, and like ask yourself to go through things again when you got discouraged. But I think doing these, if you can find someone to do them with, it's quite a good way to start a mastermind group or a mastermind partnership. Just seeing how you go through these workbooks together, seeing what you get out of it, how they ask questions, how they force you to talk about things you don't want to think about. If you have any epiphanies together, I think the workbooks are a really good kind of gateway into that sort of relationship with somebody else. So if for no other reason, I would recommend you at least try one of those with somebody else at least once. And as I said, the link is in the show notes to the coffee. You can also just generally subscribe there to give us some coffees, cakes, whatever you would like. We will soon be adding some tiers you can sign up to there to get additional perks from us to help you along your journey towards writing success. But we will release more about that throughout the month. If you want more information as it comes out, it is in the Discord or any of our social media. We're on Instagram, and that's where you get most information. TikTok is just for seeing more of our lovely faces. But we're on Instagram, Pen to Paycheck Authors, I think. And yeah, join our Discord, which is free, will always be free to join and get some chit chat in there, and also find out about the tiers that we're offering. But it will be a way for you to have epiphany-full conversations like this with us and others. Hopefully that sounds appealing to you. So next week, as I said, on Wednesday, I'm heading off to Seville. So next week's episode will be me doing a recap from Seville, which feels like I've just done one for Ireland. I'm such a world traveller. And
Traveller.
world travel to countries that are adjacent to the one I live in.
Yeah.
So yeah, a small world travel right now. But the island videos have just come out, so I'll maybe be watching the ones that I missed from that while on the plane to another conference. So we'll be doing a recap for that next week. And then we've got some really fun episodes coming up as well. So very excited. Anything else to add?
No.
Okay, that's very pensive.
Cry. Yeah.
Really think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have an existential crisis week.
Okay. I look forward to hearing about that when I'm in Spain.
Yeah.
Feel free to share in the Discord. Everyone will be eager to join in your pain. Hopefully this has been helpful to everyone to hear us kind of talk through the process of like figuring out what we can be improving in, not what we're doing wrong. Mastery through missteps journey. Thank you for listening along with that. And we will see you again next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.